Have you ever sat alone and wondered why you keep feeling exhausted, even when you're doing everything for everyone else? Why is it that the people you sacrifice for the most often become the very people who forget your struggles? Why do so many people spend years building others, supporting others, pleasing others, while slowly losing themselves in the process? From childhood, many of us were taught that putting ourselves first is selfish. We were told to keep giving, keep sacrificing, keep saying yes, and keep carrying the burdens of others. But nobody taught us what happens when our own heart becomes empty. Nobody taught us what happens when the person who needs our love the most is staring back at us from the mirror. Today, I want to challenge a belief that has been silently stealing happiness from millions of people. I want you to understand that thinking about yourself is not selfish. It is necessary. Because if you lose yourself while trying to keep everyone else happy, who will be left to live your life? The truth is simple but powerful. The moment you start valuing yourself, respecting yourself, protecting your peace, and investing in your own growth, your entire life begins to change. The world changes when you change. Your future changes when your priorities change. This speech is not about becoming selfish. It is about becoming aware. It is about understanding that you cannot pour from an empty cup. You cannot lead others when you are lost. You cannot heal others when you are broken. And you cannot create an extraordinary life while constantly ignoring the most important person in it, you. So today, let us discover why thinking about yourself is one of the most powerful decisions you will ever make. You cannot save others while neglecting yourself. There is a silent tragedy in this world. People who become everything for everyone else, but nothing for themselves. They smile while breaking inside. They carry burdens that were never theirs to carry. They become the listener, the helper, the rescuer, the emotional shelter for others, while their own soul waits in a corner, unheard and untouched. We are praised for sacrifice so often that we begin to believe exhaustion is proof of love. But exhaustion is not love. Neglect is not kindness. Losing yourself is not loyalty. A person who constantly empties themselves for others eventually becomes too tired to dream, too numb to feel, and too broken to continue. Think about a candle. It can light 1,000 rooms, but if the flame is never protected, it burns out. Human beings are no different. You cannot keep giving your energy, time, emotions, and peace away without renewing them. Yet many people feel guilty when they rest. They apologize for saying no. They fear disappointing others more than they fear destroying themselves. That is not compassion. That is self-abandonment disguised as goodness. Real strength is not measured by how much pain you can endure silently. Real strength is measured by your ability to protect your spirit while still caring for others. When life becomes difficult, most people instinctively try harder. They work more, give more, fix more, sacrifice more. But sometimes the bravest thing you can do is pause and ask yourself, what do I need? Not what others expect from you, not what keeps everyone comfortable. What do you need to breathe again, to heal again, to feel alive again? Your needs are not a burden. Your emotions are not an inconvenience. Your limits are not weaknesses. They are signals reminding you that you are human, not a machine built to endlessly serve everyone around you. The truth is simple, but life-changing. Taking care of yourself does not make you selfish. It makes you sustainable. A healthy heart loves better. A rested mind thinks clearly. A peaceful soul gives more genuinely. When you choose to nourish yourself through rest, boundaries, healing, growth, and self-respect, you are not abandoning people. You are becoming strong enough to show up without resentment, burnout, or emptiness. The world does not need more exhausted martyrs. It needs people who are whole enough to love without losing themselves. Stop seeking validation from people who don't value you. One of the heaviest chains a person can wear is the need to be approved by everyone. It is exhausting to constantly adjust your words, your personality, your dreams, and your silence just to earn acceptance. You begin shrinking yourself to fit into spaces that were never meant for you. You over-explain, you over-give, you overthink every interaction, wondering if you were liked enough, appreciated enough, noticed enough. And slowly, without realizing it, your worth becomes dependent on the reactions of people who may not even understand your heart. But validation is a dangerous currency because the moment someone gives it, they also gain the power to take it away. If your confidence rises and falls with other people's opinions, your peace will never be stable. Some people will misunderstand you no matter how pure your intentions are. Some will overlook your efforts. Some will criticize what they do not have the courage to become. And some will only value you when you are useful to them. If you spend your life chasing approval from people who cannot truly see your worth, you will keep running toward an empty destination. There is a profound freedom in realizing that not everyone has to like you for your life to matter. The sky does not ask for applause before it shines. A flower does not bloom only when someone is watching. Your value is not created by attention, praise, or popularity. It exists because you exist. The moment you stop begging to be chosen by people who repeatedly ignore, dismiss, or diminish you, you reclaim your power. You stop performing. You stop proving. You stop exhausting yourself in places where your presence is tolerated instead of cherished. This does not mean becoming arrogant or indifferent. It means becoming rooted. It means knowing who you are even when the room is silent. It means allowing criticism to inform you without defining you. It means understanding that the people who truly value you will not require you to betray yourself in order to belong. When you build your self-worth from within, compliments become appreciated instead of necessary. Rejection becomes survivable instead of devastating, and your peace stops depending on the changing opinions of the world. Your dreams deserve your attention. So many people treat their dreams like distant decorations, beautiful to imagine, but never important enough to pursue. They postpone their goals for the right time, after everyone else is taken care of, after responsibilities lighten, after fear disappears. But life rarely pauses and says, now everything is perfect. Go become who you were meant to be. Dreams fade not because they are impossible, but because they are neglected. Every day you ignore your calling, a part of you grows quieter. Every time you say, maybe later, your future waits a little longer for your courage. Your ambitions are not random thoughts. They are clues about the life your soul longs to live, the book you want to write, the business you want to start, the skill you want to master, the change you want to make. These desires matter. Yet many people spend years solving other people's problems while abandoning their own potential. They become dependable for everyone else but invisible to themselves. One day, they wake up feeling restless, not because life is empty, but because they have ignored the voice inside them for too long. Pursuing your dreams does not require grand beginnings. It requires honest commitment. A single page written daily becomes a book. 1 hour of practice becomes mastery. One difficult conversation becomes freedom. One small step, repeated consistently, can change an entire life. People often underestimate what can happen in a year of focused effort, but they overestimate what will happen by waiting. Fear will not disappear before you begin. Confidence is not the starting point. It is the result of continuing despite uncertainty. You owe your dreams more than occasional inspiration. You owe them attention, discipline, and belief. The world is full of people who sacrifice their deepest desires to stay comfortable, acceptable, or available for everyone else. Do not become one of them. Your future self is shaped by what you repeatedly choose today. Choose growth, choose effort, choose the uncomfortable path that leads somewhere meaningful. Because no one else can build a life that is calling your name. Protect your peace like your greatest treasure. Peace is not weakness. It is power under control. In a world that constantly demands your reaction, your attention, and your emotional energy, inner peace becomes one of the rarest forms of wealth. Yet many people give it away cheaply. They argue with people committed to misunderstanding them. They replay insults in their minds for days. They allow negativity to rent space in their hearts without paying anything in return. And over time, they become emotionally exhausted, not because life is impossible, but because they have allowed too much noise into their inner world. Not every battle deserves your participation. Some conversations exist only to drain you. Some people thrive on chaos and confusion. Some environments quietly poison your spirit even when nothing dramatic is happening. Wisdom is learning the difference between what requires your response and what deserves your distance. Protecting your peace sometimes means walking away from arguments you could win. Sometimes it means limiting access to people who constantly disturb your calm. Sometimes it means choosing silence over the temporary satisfaction of proving a point. Many people confuse peace with passivity, but real peace is active. It is built through boundaries, self-awareness, and discipline. It is the decision to guard your mind from constant negativity, to rest when your body is tired, to speak kindly to yourself, and to stop consuming things that leave your soul heavy. Peace is not the absence of problems. It is the ability to remain grounded in the middle of them. A calm mind sees solutions more clearly than an anxious one. A protected heart loves more honestly than a wounded one constantly on defense. You do not have to attend every conflict you are invited to. You do not have to carry every opinion thrown at you. Your energy is limited, and where you place it shapes your life. When you begin treating your peace as something sacred, your decisions change. You become more selective about your relationships, your conversations, your habits, and your environment. And slowly, the constant noise loses its grip on you. You start hearing your own voice again. The relationship with yourself determines everything else. The most important conversation in your life is the one you have with yourself when nobody is listening. Before success, before relationships, before recognition, there is your relationship with your own mind and heart. If that relationship is built on criticism, doubt, and shame, no external achievement will feel enough for long. But if it is built on respect, honesty, patience, and belief, you develop a foundation that can withstand storms. The way you see yourself quietly shapes the way you allow others to treat you, the risks you take, and the life you believe you deserve. Many people spend years learning how to understand others while never learning how to understand themselves. They know everyone else's needs, moods, and expectations, but they cannot answer simple questions about their own desires, fears, or values. Self-connection is not selfish introspection. It is clarity. It is noticing what drains you and what strengthens you. It is recognizing patterns that keep hurting you. It is speaking to yourself with the same compassion you offer people you love. A person who is constantly at war with themselves will carry that conflict into every part of life. Your self-respect becomes the standard for your relationships. When you believe you must earn love by overgiving, you attract dynamics where your needs disappear. When you doubt your worth, you tolerate disrespect longer than you should. But when you begin valuing yourself, your boundaries strengthen naturally. You stop chasing people who repeatedly show indifference. You communicate more honestly. You choose environments that align with your values. Confidence is not loud arrogance. It is the quiet certainty that your existence has value, even without constant external proof. Building a strong relationship with yourself is a lifelong practice. It grows through small daily choices, keeping promises to yourself, resting without guilt, learning from mistakes without cruelty, celebrating progress, and allowing yourself to evolve. You are not meant to remain the same person forever. Healing changes you, experience changes you, courage changes you. The goal is not perfection, it is alignment. The more deeply you know and respect yourself, the less you will seek completion from people, places, or achievements outside of you. And from that place, your life begins to feel less like survival and more like authorship. In the end, the day you begin thinking about yourself is the day you stop living on autopilot and start living with intention. For too long, many people spend their lives carrying expectations that were never theirs, chasing approval that never satisfies, and sacrificing dreams that were meant to be pursued, but your life was never designed to be a constant performance for others. You were not born merely to survive each day, pleasing everyone while forgetting yourself. You were born with unique gifts, dreams, strengths, and a purpose that deserves your attention. When you start valuing your peace, protecting your energy, respecting your worth, and investing in your growth, something extraordinary begins to happen. You stop waiting for permission to become who you were meant to be. You stop asking the world to validate what you already know deep inside. And little by little, you begin building a life that reflects your true potential rather than other people's expectations. Always remember this: the relationship you have with yourself sets the tone for every other relationship in your life. If you believe in yourself, the world becomes less frightening. If you respect yourself, you stop accepting less than you deserve. If you trust yourself, every setback becomes a lesson instead of a defeat. So choose yourself not over others, but alongside others. Choose your growth, your healing, your happiness, and your future. Because at the end of the day, you are the one person who will walk with you through every chapter of your life. Stand by yourself. Invest in yourself. Believe in yourself. And never forget these powerful words. The moment you start treating yourself like someone worth fighting for, your entire life begins to change. Keep moving forward, keep becoming stronger, and keep reminding yourself that the greatest project you will ever work on is the person you see in the mirror every single day.